Bhagavad Gita, 2nd chapter, part 2, the Yoga of the Intelligent Will. The teacher has given some metaphysical ideas according to the Vedantic Sankhya, which form the basis of the ancient Aryan ideal of conduct. Now he turns to a deeper spiritual solution, to the system of yoga as preached in the Gita. It is in fact primarily a practical system of yoga that the Gita teaches, and it brings in metaphysical ideas only as explanatory of its practical system. It is because of wrong intelligence that man has hope and fear, wrath and grief, and transient joy. Otherwise, works are possible with a perfect serenity and freedom. Therefore, it is the yoga of the buddhi, the intelligence, that is first enjoined on Arjuna. To act with right intelligence, and therefore a right will, fixed in the one, aware of the one self in all, and acting out of its equal serenity, not running about in different directions under the 1,000 impulses of our superficial mental self, is the yoga of the intelligent will. One who practices this yoga rises to a higher law beyond good and evil, founded in the liberty of self-knowledge. Action done in yoga is not only the highest but the wisest, the most potent and efficient even for the affairs of the world, for it is informed by the knowledge and will of the master of works. Yoga is the true skill in works. The culmination of the yoga of intelligent will is in the Brahmic status, Brahmastiti. It is a reversal of the whole view, experience, knowledge, values, seeings of earthbound creatures. Nirvana is not the negative self-annihilation of the Buddhists, but the great emergence of the separate personal self into the vast reality of the one infinite impersonal existence. Throughout the first 6 chapters, the Gita quietly substitutes the still immutable Brahman of the Vedantins, the one without a second immanent in all cosmos, for the still immutable but multiple Purusha of the Sankhya's. It accepts throughout these chapters knowledge and realization of the Brahman as the most important, the indispensable means of liberation, even while it insists on desireless works as an essential part of knowledge. Such, subtly unifying Sankhya, Yoga, and Vedanta, is the first foundation of the teaching of the Gita. It is far from being all, but it is the first indispensable practical unity of knowledge and works, with a hint already of the third crowning intensest element in the soul's completeness, divine love and devotion.
Isha te bhita sankhye buddhiryoge tvimam shrunu buddhya yukto yaya partho karma bandham prahasyasi neha vikramanashosti pratyavayo na vidyate salpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat vyavasayatmika buddhi rekeha kurunandana bhushakha hyanantascha buddhayo vyavasayinam yamimam pushpitam vacham pravadantya vipaschitaha vedavadartah partho nanyadasti vadinaha kamatmanas svargapara janma karma phalapradam kriya vishesha bahulam bhogaishwarya gatim prati bhogaishwarya prasaktanam taya pahrita chetasam vyavasayatmika buddhis samadho na vidhiyate traigunya vishaya veda nistraigunya bhavarjuna निर्द्वन्द्वो नित्यसत्त्वस्थो निर्योगक्षेम आत्मवान् यावानर्थ उदपाने सर्वतः सम्प्लुतोदके तावान् सर्वेषु वेदेषु ब्राह्मणस्य विजानतः कर्मण्येवाधिकारस्ते मा फलेषु कदाचन मा कर्मफलहेतुर्भूर्मा ते सङ्गोऽस्त्वकर्मणि योगस्थः कुरु कर्माणि सङ्गं त्यक्त्वा धनञ्जय सिद्धिसिद्ध्यो समो भूत्वा समत्वं योग उच्यते दूरेण ह्यवरं कर्म बुद्धियोगात् धनञ्जय बुद्धौ शरणमन्विच्छ कृपणाः फलहेतवः बुद्धियुक्तो जहातीह उभे सुकृतदुष्कृते तस्माद् योगाय युज्यस्व योगः कर्मसु कौशलम् कर्मजं बुद्धियुक्ता हि फलं त्यक्त्वा मनीषिणः जन्मबन्धविनिर्मुक्ताः पदं गच्छन्त्यनामयम् यदा ते मोहकलिलं बुद्धिर्व्यतितरिष्यति तदा गन्तासि निर्वेदं श्रोतव्यस्य श्रुतस्य च श्रुतिविप्रतिपन्ना ते यदा स्थास्यति निश्चला समाधावचला बुद्धिस्तदा योगमवाप्स्यसि अर्जुन उवाच स्थितप्रज्ञस्य का भाषा समाधिस्थस्य केशव स्थितधीः किं प्रभाषेत किमासीत व्रजेत किं श्रीभगवानुवाच प्रजहाति यदा कामान् सर्वान् पार्थमनोगतान् आत्मन्येवात्मना तुष्टस्थितप्रज्ञस्तदोच्यते दुःखेष्वनुद्विग्नमनः सुखेषु विगतस्पृहः वीतरागभयक्रोधस्थितधीर्मुनिरुच्यते यः सर्वत्रानभिस्नेहस्तत्तत्प्राप्य शुभाशुभम् नाभिनन्दति तद्वेष्टि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता यदा संहरते चायं कूर्मोऽङ्गानीव सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता विषया विनिवर्तन्ते निराहारस्य देहिनः रसवर्जं रसोऽप्यस्य परं दृष्ट्वा निवर्तते यततो हि अपि कौन्तेय पुरुषस्य विपश्चितः इन्द्रियाणि प्रमाथीनि हरन्ति प्रसभं मनः तानि सर्वाणि संयम्य युक्त आसीत मत्परः वशे हि यस्येन्द्रियाणि तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता ध्यायतो विषयान् पुंसः सङ्गस्तेषूपजायते सङ्गात् सञ्जायते कामः कामात् क्रोधोऽभिजायते क्रोधात् भवति सम्मोहः सम्मोहात् स्मृतिविभ्रमः स्मृतिभ्रंशात् बुद्धिनाशो बुद्धिनाशात् प्रणश्यति रागद्वेषवियुक्तैस्तु विषयानिन्द्रियैश्चरन् आत्मवश्यैर्विधेयात्मा प्रसादमधिगच्छति प्रसादे सर्वदुःखानां हानिरस्योपजायते प्रसन्नचेतसो ह्याशु बुद्धिः पर्यवतिष्ठते नास्ति बुद्धिरयुक्तस्य न चायुक्तस्य भावना न चाभावयतः शान्तिरशान्तस्य कुतः सुखम् इन्द्रियाणां हि चरतां यन्मनोनुविधीयते तदस्य हरति प्रज्ञां वायुर्नावमिवाम्भसि तस्माद् यस्य महाबाहो निगृहीतानि सर्वशः इन्द्रियाणीन्द्रियार्थेभ्यस्तस्य प्रज्ञा प्रतिष्ठिता या निशा सर्वभूतानां तस्यां जागर्ति संयमी यस्यां जागृति भूतानि सा निशा पश्यतो मुनेः आपूर्यमाणम् अचलप्रतिष्ठं समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत् तद्वत्कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे स्वशान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान् पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहा निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः स शान्तिमधिगच्छति एषा ब्राह्मी स्थितिः पार्थ नैनां प्राप्य विमुह्यति स्थित्वा स्यामन्तकालेऽपि ब्रह्मनिर्वाणमृच्छति इति श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्मविद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे साङ्ख्ययोगो नाम द्वितीयोऽध्यायः। श्रीकृष्णार्पणमस्तु। हरये नमः। हरये नमः। हरये नमः।
The yoga of the intelligent will. Such is the intelligence declared to thee in the Sankhya. Hear now this in the yoga. For if thou art in yoga by this intelligence, O son of Pritha, thou shalt cast away the bondage of works. On this path no effort is lost, no obstacle prevails. Even a little of this Dharma delivers from the great fear. The fixed and resolute intelligence is one and homogeneous, O joy of the Kurus. Many branching and multifarious is the intelligence of the irresolute. This flowery word which they declare who have not clear discernment, devoted to the creed of the Veda, whose creed is that there is nothing else, souls of desire, seekers of paradise. It gives the fruits of the works of birth. It is multifarious with specialties of rights. It is directed to enjoyment and lordship as its goal. The intelligence of those who are misled by that flowery word and cling to enjoyment and lordship is not established in the self with concentrated fixity. The action of the three gunas is the subject matter of the Veda. But do thou become free from the triple guna, O Arjuna, without the dualities, ever based in the true being, without getting or having, possessed of the self. As much use as there is in a well with water and flood on every side, so much is there in all the Vedas for the Brahmin who has the knowledge. Thou hast a right to action, but only to action, never to its fruits. Let not the fruits of thy works be thy motive, neither let there be in thee any attachment to inactivity. Fixed in yoga, do thy actions, having abandoned attachment, having become equal in failure and success, for it is equality that is meant by yoga. Works are far inferior to yoga of the intelligence, O Dhananjaya. Desire rather refuge in the intelligence. Poor and wretched souls are they who make the fruit of their works the object of their thoughts and activities. One whose intelligence has attained to unity casts away from him even here in this world of dualities, both good doing and evil doing. Therefore strive to be in yoga. Yoga is skill in works. The sages who have united their reason and will with the divine renounce the fruit which action yields, and, liberated from the bondage of birth, they reach the status beyond misery. When thy intelligence shall cross beyond the whirl of delusion, then shalt thou become indifferent to scripture heard, or that which thou hast yet to hear. When thy intelligence, which is bewildered by the Shruti, shall stand unmoving and stable in Samadhi, then shalt thou attain to yoga. Arjuna said, what is the sign of the man in Samadhi whose intelligence is firmly fixed in wisdom? How does the sage of settled understanding speak? How sit? How walk? the Blessed Lord said, "When a man expels, O Partha, all desires from the mind, and is satisfied in the self, by the self, then is he called stable in intelligence. He whose mind is undisturbed in the midst of sorrows, and amid pleasures is free from desire, from whom liking and fear and wrath have passed away, is the sage of settled understanding, who in all things is without affection, though visited by this good or that evil, and neither hates nor rejoices. His intelligence sits firmly founded in wisdom. Who draws away the senses from the objects of sense, as the tortoise draws in his limbs into the shell. His intelligence sits firmly founded in wisdom. If one abstains from food, the objects of sense cease to affect, but the affection itself of the sense, the rasa, remains. The rasa also ceases when the Supreme is seen. Even the mind of the wise man who labors for perfection is carried away by the vehement insistence of the senses, O son of Kunti. Having brought all the senses under control, he must sit firm in yoga, wholly given up to me, for whose senses are mastered. Of him the intelligence is firmly established in its proper seat. In him whose mind dwells on the objects of sense with absorbing interest, attachment to them is formed. From attachment comes desire, from desire anger. Anger leads to bewilderment. From bewilderment comes loss of memory, and by that the intelligence is destroyed. From destruction of intelligence he perishes. It is by ranging over the objects with the senses, but with senses subject to the self, freed from liking and disliking, that one gets into a large and sweet clearness of soul and temperament, in which passion and grief find no place. The intelligence of such a man is rapidly established in his proper seat. For one who is not in yoga, there is no intelligence, no concentration of thought. For him without concentration there is no peace. And for the unpeaceful, how can there be happiness? Such of the roving senses as the mind follows, that carries away the understanding, just as the winds carry away a ship on the sea. Therefore, O mighty armed, one who has utterly restrained the excitement of the senses by their objects, his intelligence sits firmly founded in calm self-knowledge. That higher being which is to all creatures a night is to the self-mastering sage his waking, his luminous day of true being, knowledge, and power. The life of the dualities which is to them their waking, their day, their consciousness, their bright condition of activity, is a night, a troubled sleep in darkness of the soul, to the sage who sees. He attains peace, into whom all desires enter as waters into the sea, an ocean of wide being and consciousness, which is ever being filled, yet ever motionless. Not he who, like troubled and muddy waters, is disturbed by every little inrush of desire, who abandons all desires and lives and acts free from longing, who has no I or mine, who has extinguished his individual ego in the One and lives in that unity. He attains to the great peace. This is Brahmastiti, firm standing in the Brahman, O son of Pritha. Having attained thereto, one is not bewildered. Fixed in that status as his end, one can attain to extinction in the Brahman. Thus ends the second chapter of Sankhya Yoga from the Bhagavad Gita Upanishad, stating the knowledge of Brahman and the science of yoga through the conversation of Sri Krishna and Arjuna. Om. Peace, peace, peace.